Welcome back, everyone. I told you I would try to give you another upload tonight, and I'm here to deliver. It's late, and I'm exhausted, so let's just take a trip to the state of Ohio and get this encounter story underway. This is a wild one. Grab a drink, lock your doors and windows, hit the lights, and let's get started. I wish to stay anonymous. Please keep my name out of this story. No problem, my friend. My family owns a huge farm near Keene, Ohio. It's a pretty isolated place, bordered by woods, and the nearest neighbor is at least 8 to 10 miles away. We've always raised cattle and chickens on our land. Everything was normal until a few months ago, when our animals started disappearing. At first it was small things. A couple of chickens here and there went missing. I didn't think much of it. Coyotes had been around this property longer than we had, and I figured they had gotten into the coop. We fixed up the fence and moved on. You can't get too upset at them. They're only doing what they were born to do. It's their way. It's what they know. I hate killing any animal, but I can't let our animals get picked off one by one. But then it got worse. A calf went missing. It was a healthy calf, 6 months old. Not something that could wander off easily. I searched the woods all night, but found nothing. No tracks, no signs of a struggle. It was just gone. It didn't make any sense to me. A coyote can't drag an entire 6-month-old calf off, and even if it did, there would have been blood or some signs of a kill site. Over the next few weeks, more animals came up missing. A full-grown cow disappeared one night. That's when I knew something wasn't right. I began hearing rumors from neighboring farms and folks in town about larger animals, maybe a pack of big coyotes. Some of the older people mentioned seeing strange animals in the woods. But I didn't believe in cow-stealing boogeymen, so I just knew I had to protect our farm. So I decided to stay up one night and hunt whatever was taking our livestock. One Saturday night, I grabbed my .30-06 bolt-action rifle, a thermos of coffee, and set out for the edge of the woods where we kept our cattle. I picked a spot where I could see everything clearly: the pasture, the woods, and our barn. It was cold and quiet, and I could see the moon reflecting off the dew in the grass. I waited for hours. At first, everything was normal. I could hear the usual distant coyote yips and barks. I got into a good shooting posture and readied my gun, and waited. Then things got weird. The coyote sound suddenly stopped, and all I heard was my own breathing, and a tiny howl from the wind blowing across the pasture. Let's just say I'm not a man that gets spooked, and at this moment in time, yeah, I was spooked, real spooked. The small hairs on my neck, shoulders, and arms all stood straight, and I started hearing this weird mechanical humming sound. It was so loud and muffled my hearing so bad that I couldn't tell exactly where it was coming from. For some reason I can't really explain it, still today. My eyes started to water really bad, so bad it was blurring my vision. The sounds went on for, I'd say, a good 20 to 30 seconds, and then it sounded like someone powered down a piece of heavy machinery, and the humming faded away slowly until it was completely quiet again. As soon as the sound stopped, my vision returned to normal and my eyes stopped watering. One of the weirdest damn things I've ever experienced. I didn't have a clue what the hell had just happened, but I kept my rifle steady and kept watching the pasture. I just had a feeling something was close by. I know everyone says it in these encounter stories and it's cliche as hell, but I felt very strongly that I was being watched. I didn't have to wait very long to have my feelings verified. About 3 minutes later, at the far end of the field, near the tree line, I saw something moving slow. At first I thought it was just a coyote, but as it stepped out of the trees and into the open pasture, I realized just how big it was. It was much bigger than any coyote could ever get. It stood on 2 legs, not 4, and it looked to be blacker than the night itself. It looked like the outline of a giant wolf, like I said. It walked upright, bipedal. As far as I know, coyotes cannot do this. I could see yellow eye shine, but there wasn't any light to produce the reflection. I had no clue how this could be possible, and it was kind of wobbly when it took steps, almost like it was struggling to stay upright. I didn't move. I slowly pointed my rifle in its direction and looked through the scope. This thing was definitely a giant canine. I can't express enough how big it really was. It had to weigh over 500 pounds easy. Its chest looked to be 3 to 4 feet wide, shoulder to shoulder. I had no friggin' idea what I was looking at. But it was too late to back out now. I had to make my stand and see what happens. I took a deep breath and I aimed square at its chest and pulled the trigger. The shot rang out, and I heard that familiar smack when a bullet connects with flesh and tissue. I had hit my mark. The creature jerked a little, but it didn't fall. Instead, in an instant, it snapped its head and looked right at me. Its eyes locked onto me, and for a second, I felt like it didn't know exactly where I was. But then it growled, low and deep, and I felt the sound more than I heard it. I knew then I was in some deep shit. It immediately started running toward me, fast. So fast it was almost blurry, kinda like its physical shape was phasing in and out of existence. I can't explain it without sounding like a lunatic. I worked the bolt, took aim, and fired again, hitting it in the chest a second time, but it didn't slow down at all. I worked another round in the chamber, and led my target, and fired. I'm pretty sure I hit it in the side of its neck, and it stumbled a bit and let out the most god-awful scream. I won't even try to explain what it sounded like. Then, panic hit me. I knew I couldn't win this. I only had 2 rounds left in my gun, and I wasn't happy with those odds against this demon. So I did what anyone would have done in my situation that had any sense at all. While it was recovering, I ran. I'd never been that scared before. I didn't know fear to this magnitude existed. I headed across the field toward the house, not looking back. I could hear it coming behind me, and it was definitely gaining ground. And I'm here to tell you, this thing was highly pissed off. I could hear it growling and snarling and making all kinds of weird sounds. It may have been due to the giant hole I had just put in its neck. I'm not sure. I did make it to the house, slammed the door behind me, and locked the deadbolt. I stood there, physically shaking, white-knuckling my rifle, waiting for it to break down the door. But it never came. Everything just went quiet again, and after standing there, aimed at the door for about 20 minutes, I finally sat down. The next morning I went back out to check the field. The cattle were all still there. None of them had so much as a scratch. But where the creature had stood, the ground was torn up. Deep claw marks were gouged into the dirt. I followed them for a bit, but they disappeared into the woods. There were no more tracks after that. It's like the thing had just vanished. The craziest part, there wasn't a drop of blood anywhere. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you are with rifles, but a .30-06 packs a hell of a wallop, and I hit this thing twice in the chest and once in the neck. I'm sorry, but no living, breathing animal on this earth could have survived that. Which leads me to think this wasn't a normal creature. I tried telling a few people in town what had happened, but not one single person believed me. They all said it was a bear or a large coyote. The hell it was. That wasn't a coyote. It wasn't even close. It was something way worse. I think it was a demon, if you want the truth. It didn't bleed. You tell me what it was. Since that night, nothing else has gone missing from the farm. I haven't seen the creature again, and I hope I never do. If you get caught in the open with no weapon and that thing spots you, you're a dead man, and you can take that to the bank, son. I believe the only reason I made it is because I had wounded the damn thing and it slowed it down some. Dogman, demon, werewolf, you can call it whatever you want. Just pray you don't see it. I haven't had any desire whatsoever to go hunting, go in the woods again. I stay close to the house, even in the daytime. I have this feeling that I haven't seen the last of that devil. I hope I'm wrong. But every time I stare at that tree line, it's like I can feel it staring right back at me. I hope you can use this and it isn't too violent. I typed it the way it happened. That's all I can do. Watch yourself out there at night, buddy, and have a gun, always, no matter what. Anonymous. I've been wanting to upload this one for a while. I've had it for probably a couple of weeks. But it got shuffled and buried in my inbox. I'm sorry, brother, if you're listening. I did email you back, and I didn't mean to take so long. My inbox is, let's just say, out of control. I appreciate the submission, and that is definitely a butthole clenching encounter. If 3 rounds from a rifle that size won't stop it, I'm not sure if it can be stopped. And no blood at all? I don't know how to feel about that. A gun may not even help you. My dog just scared the life out of me. A gun may not even help. That's a comforting thought, isn't it? Well, my friends, it's late, and I've been attacked by a giant poodle, so let's end this one, and prepare for the next one. I hope y'all enjoyed this upload. Please, if you aren't subscribed already, consider doing so. Share this video, and be sure to black both of the like button's eyes on your way out. Until next time, my friends, watch over your loved ones, keep your head on a swivel, and as always, good night.